Our Singapore civil service is professional, competent, and non-partisan. To suggest otherwise is to insult them. Seventhly, they argue against a minimum wage, using a slightly xenophobic argument that we should not pay our foreign domestic workers more. Now, you know, the highest taxes in Singapore are paid by our domestic workers. Yes, more than 1/3 of the total amount paid by employers goes into the foreign domestic worker levy, which is a form of tax. 33% is a higher tax rate than any playboy billionaire pays in Singapore. We argue that this levy should be scrapped. The money should be paid to the domestic worker herself, so that the people who do the most important things for us, who look after our children, our elderly parents, while cooking for us and cleaning our homes, should be paid a decent salary. Finally, there's the issue of the defense budget, which has come up in so many conversations, both online and offline. We had proposed reducing the defense expenditure to fund healthcare financing. This has been controversial, and like all our other policies, we are pleased that discussion has been stimulated. Some proposals have included smart defense spending, with more transparency and accountability. Reviewing costly programs like the F-35, you know, the fighter plane that apparently cannot fight. Other options include the out-of-the-box suggestion of incorporating healthcare expenditure in the defense budget, on the grounds that protecting Singaporeans from cancer is at least as important as protecting them against terrorism. Furthermore, according to the World Bank, under Finance Minister Tharman, the Singapore defense budget has decreased from 3.4% of GDP in 2010 to 3.2% of GDP in 2014 without any significant compromise of Singapore's security. So I think there should be a healthy debate among Singaporeans on what is the best way to prioritize spending that promotes the well-being of Singaporeans without compromising the safety and security of our borders. The debate on the defense budget brings into focus the wider issues of the SDP policies in general. The SDP is fielding only 11 candidates this election. There is no way that we can form the government and implement any of these policies. They will all be voted down by the PAP party whip, even if we propose them as bills in Parliament. We would like to use the policies based on international best practices as benchmarks to hold the government accountable. And that is the role of a responsible, competent, constructive, and compassionate opposition party, which the SDP promises you that we will be. We ask you to hold us accountable. We will have regular meetings with our constituents where you can bring up issues and use our own policies to see whether we walk the talk. We will modify our policies if the situation changes or if there's significant feedback from the people who put us in Parliament. Why then do you need our policies in Parliament? You have seen for yourselves how the government has become more sensitive to the gaps in social spending and income inequality after the 2011 election. The PAP MPs who dominate the chamber are very talented individuals. Many of them are scholars with outstanding track records in public service. But what is missing in the PAP? You're right. Was actually highlighted during a recent debate organized by Wiswa Sadasivan in his website, Inconvenient Questions. The audience was asked, what was their wish for those in government? And one of the participants said, and this was interesting, she said she wished that they would dress down in disguise and live among the ordinary people for 1 or 2 weeks. agreed with her. In fact, I have a standing offer to any senior officer I meet. I tell them, disguise yourselves as one of the junior college students that I take on my job shadowing while I'm doing rounds at any random date, and follow me on a ward round in a C-class ward in any public hospital. I guarantee these officials that what they experience will speak much more to them than any of the statistics and papers that their staff officers generate from them. This is what the people want from their leaders. Not to come around once every 4 or 5 years and ask them how they're doing, shake their hand, ask them to vote for them. This is what we in the opposition live through every day. I am probably the only one in the SDP slate of candidates who comes from the senior ranks of academia or public service. And my excuse is that I still do rounds on C-class wards on a regular basis. During my leave from the hospital these 3 weeks, however, I have continued to encounter people in need. One such person I encountered yesterday during a walkabout at Adam Road Food Center. She's a retired teacher and she knew our family well. So she asked me, why are you doing this? I thought she was a PAP supporter and asking me why I didn't join PAP. I said to her, it was because of the people I encounter every day in hospital who enjoy good medical care but struggle to pay the bills. I told her that it probably didn't apply to her, as she had the CSC card, they call it the gold card. And that she's a Division 1 pensioner. But she stopped me and she related her experience. I knew that she had cancer, but she told me that she needed a special kind of medical device that was not covered by the CSC card, and it had to be imported. So that meant that every month she had to pay more than $1,000 in cash. So she's ETO and retired. She asked the hospital for help, and they suggested that she go and see her MP. So she went to see her MP in the now defunct Clementi Ave GRC to ask for a discount. She didn't get to see the MP, but the official who saw her apparently told her that she should sell her house and downgrade to an SDP flat. That was her reaction. She was indignant. She said she was 80 years old and had lived in that simple house since the day she was married. She told me she walked out of the room in despair, and she encouraged me to continue speaking up for the voiceless, the elderly, the poor, and the sick. That is what this election is about. Singaporeans who are not scholars or successful entrepreneurs, it's about those of us who are not the natural aristocrats. The Prime Minister made an unprecedented apology in Boh Key in 2011. I was listening yesterday to see whether he'll make another one. He didn't. It's time to look objectively at the promises that were made as part of that apology. Ask yourself, are your children less stressed by the education system? Are you spending less on tuition and childcare? Are the trains less crowded? Are you more able to pay for healthcare for yourself and your parents? Are you more secure that your job will not be taken away from you and given to someone who's willing to work for less? If the answer to any of those questions is no, then we still need more alternative voices in Parliament to provide independent checks on our